To the people who don't watch this video because I used the word TOONS, I'm really excited that you're going to have worse modding moving forward. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. Today, we're going to talk about 10 characters you may be modding poorly. This is a throwback to a series that I used to do, and I think I skipped a year, but let's not dwell on that. Let's talk about these 10 characters that you really might not be modding well. Maybe you're doing well. I don't know. Probably poorly, though. Probably like me. So, just a huge shout out to my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for your support. I really appreciate you guys. And if you want to support this channel for free, folks, all you gotta do is hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, comment, mount the algorithm, folks. It's a good time. The algorithm changed its mods once I told them how screwed up they were, so it was beneficial for all sides. Now let's get to the whoa. You gotta give me some warning, man. We're in the game. This is madness. Holy balls. So first we've got why don't we just start with Resistance Hero Finn? Sneak peek on the next, on number 5. But alright, Resistance Hero Finn. He's an interesting guy because mostly he wants to do a lot of things. So first off, he does a lot of damage, and a lot of times you'll find him on a Zori team. And so, you know, throw some relics on him, you want to do some stuff. Like, probably the most back-breaking ability he has, though, is the one where he uses his first special, and he just hands the turn. He swaps turn meter with his resistance ally friend. And so, I mean, and the AI does this really well, and it's really nice. And the only way that really works, though, is if he's faster than everyone else on the opposing side. Because otherwise they're going to just target him and stun him as soon as possible, quickly as possible. And so on a Zori team, he's already getting plus 35 speed from her. And so you really just want to give him a lot of speed, guys. And I know maybe a lot of the mods I have may seem a little elitist to people because I've been playing this game for like 8 years. And so do the best you can. I'm not saying you have to have him at 358. That is honestly not really an okay number. It's crazy. But I mean, the biggest guilds have all of their stuff modded up to, you know, they require all of their people to have Finn for Territory Wars up to 355-ish or more. So 358, you know, it's fine. So the speed needs to be the biggest priority for him. And then he is also a damage dealer. Yes, other characters on his team deal damage, but one of the flaws I've found that in a lot of Rey teams, for instance, is they can't do that much damage other than Rey. Like, it's all just a vehicle for surviving, and then Rey does some damage, and then you either time someone out or you just, you know, kill them via Rey. But so there's a lot of comps out there, like General Skywalker, for instance, will kill those comps a lot of times because they'll be able to ramp enough to beat the Rey, and they only, you know, sit down because Rey does the damage, and so it's not enough frequent damage that the clones die. And so I've always found that if you have like the resistance bros on a Rey team, then you'll be able to take out like General Skywalker squads a lot because just because they deal damage as well. And even though you find them on Zori teams for the most part, Finn does want to deal some damage, guys. Even though a lot of it is exposed damage, you still want to deal some damage. So really, I think the most optimized is going to be a crit damage triangle. The thing is, he is special damage, and so the modifier, like, he doesn't have much crit chance. And unless you can put your secondary as crit chance, but to be honest, like, the crit chance modifier is just not that much. Like, you get 8% extra crit chance. So, you know, unless you're really going for it, I think offense is an acceptable thing. Yes, I think that, like I said, I think crit damage is a little bit better, but I do like offense as well here. And as long as you can, I think whichever one you can find that's going to have a lot of speed is going to be good. The cross is going to be offense as well. And then the circle, I think the best overall version of this is going to be health. However, in the current Datacron meta, which we're not gearing toward Datacrons right now, guys. This is a generalist video that doesn't really take Datacrons into consideration. Just keep in mind that if you do have the current Datacron set, it favors protection just because of Datacron reasons that we're not going to get super into. But, I see a lot of guilds making their people throw on crit chance set here. I think health is fine. Like, you want him to live as well, because he's the squishiest member on the team. He's also the most impactful member on your team. And remember, with Zori, like, she's giving him another 35 speed. He is almost 400 speed after that. It's pretty impressive. And he does a good job with a lot of speed, little survivability, little bit of damage, kind of a complex character, to be honest. He's very strong, though. He is a really good character. We just kind of overlook him a lot of times. So Ben Solo, he is a character. I've talked about him a little bit, guys. He is also special damage, and what you really want to do with him, guys, is just destroy people with his offense. I realize a ton of people really think that he is just worthless and they shouldn't mod him, because all he really does is annoy your opponents in GAC by keeping like the Starkiller Mara Jade team just occupied, I guess. But he's always stunned. People say, like, oh, he's worthless, why should I put good mods on him? Well, there's a couple reasons. First off, if he does by chance stay unstunned, which I don't recommend really modding him for tenacity, but I guess you could. But if he does stay unstunned, he will. All he needs is one hit to just destroy your opponent. A lot of times he just does a crazy amount of damage. He does it as an AoE here with armor shred and true damage, which is also really good, which means even if they have the crit avoid, it doesn't matter, he still hits them. He also, in GAC at least, if you have the Omicron, he's going to cause healing immunity to people. He does a lot of cool stuff. He also hits underneath protection, which a lot of times, man, I can't wait for the videos of people one-shotting Gungan teams with him. Yes, maybe Rey is overkill for that team anyways, but it will be extremely enjoyable to see him because he punches under protection, and the Gungans sacrifice all their health for protection. And so it's kind of fun. So you want... Basically, you just want a lot of offense, guys. So, get some speed on him if you can. I don't have too much speed. Health, I guess, because he's on the Rey team. Offense, though, just offense, guys. Lots of offense. Even the arrow needs to be offense, and that's it. I mean, if you can get some offense secondaries on the two that aren't primary, so 4.5 and then 4.8. Yeah, he could be modded for more offense, but remember, he's also a great candidate for higher relics, guys. But you also remember it's special damage, so you're going to be doing more damage. The percentage of offense that you're increasing by is going to be even more. And then if you're using Rey on offense, if you give him Lifeblood, he gets another, 25% offense on top of that. Like, he can just destroy other teams. It's very impressive, folks. Very, very impressive. So, impressive guy, lots of offense, and probably just mostly call it a day. Now, Adrad is a fun character, and there's more and more characters that kind of like this template for a character where it's like, okay, they really want a lot of protection. Like, for him, he has his leadership that hands out protection. He gives everyone extra protection with his Omicron. And you have you have ways to be able to regenerate your protection, and you keep your whole team healthy as you can. But then you also have a really high incentive. Like, once he gets to his ult, if he's the lead, and once he gets to his ult, you need that ultimate or the mini ult, whatever you want to call it, to be impactful. You want that to be devastating to your opponent. And so what you end up with is a guy who wants to stay healthy and survive until he gets to his ult, like, hey, don't hurt me. But then once he does get his ult, you want it to be devastating. And so give him protection, because that's his best defensive stat, and then give him an offense set if you can, and make him kind of fast because he's already got a lot of speed and he gives his whole team a lot of speed anyways. So speed, that, you know, some speed secondaries, that's great, but offense is really kind of the key. And then protection on even the arrow. Protection arrow with offense set is so weird to find, folks. And then all the offense you can for secondaries as well, if you can find some. So you can see offense secondaries with protection. Apparently I didn't find offense secondaries. Like, you know, you have to... You can't have perfect mods unless you want to spend all your money. And, you know, I would rather have a little speed than offense for him. But he is a guy that you want to have quite a bit of offense and a lot of protection. So, and at Relic 9, he's also just going to, you know, he's required at 9 anyways for profundity, of course. And so, you know, giving him give those 2 health set mods, boosts his health a little bit, and then just a lot of protection. This is, I don't know if this is like great or not great, you know, this is pretty much just you know, I don't have I guess I do have some protection on the diamond, but on the square, the one that I can't have a protection primary on, no protection here. You know, you can go all out on some mods, and I don't know if he's the right character to just really break the bank and put crazy mods on, but I really like this kind of archetype of mods where you go for protection and then just a nice little offense boost from the mod set itself is kind of nice. Okay, so Darth Bane, this is actually the guy I meant to start with. He's a character that a lot of people have, a lot of people will be unlocking in the coming months, and you know, you should be working on trying to get him because he's essentially a galactic legend on offense. He's pretty easy to mod. He does a lot of damage, he does a lot of cool stuff, and he ramps damage, he does all the, I mean, tons of cool stuff. Really, like, just a transcendent character that looks like a skeleton for some reason. And, you know, CG, I feel like they could have made it way cooler if they had used the art from the non-canon version of Bane, which I think they could have, but instead we have this, like, what is this, like, did they just invent this? Anyways, we don't need to get into that. The thing that you want to do with him, guys, is basically survive, just like he and this other Sith all did with the Rule of Two. He's the guy who started the Rule of Two, of course, and so they have to survive in order to eventually, thousands of years later, kill all the Jedi. So basically, you want, his best stat is going to be health. You just want health. He's pretty boring, just health. And then, I mean, some defense set is fine. That, you know, just mix and match. I think ultimately, if we could all just, most characters would prefer to just swap all of their health set mods for defense. I think most characters would benefit from that. But we all have a ton of health set mods, and so health set isn't a crime. It's not a crim. I don't know what that even means. But you know, get some defense secondaries at least if you can. And, you know, some offense where you can, some speed. I mean, I probably have too much speed. Like, does he need this much speed? Maybe not. But, you know, the thing is, you want him to live, and you want him to live. That's what you want him to do. Like, you don't want him to die. That's for damn sure. Could you imagine, like, he dies first, and then, like, his poor sacrificial, like, lamb, like, on the side, Darth Maul or something, is just left there with his lightsaber just shaking. Like, holy crap, man, that was intense. So Jedi Cal, he's the last of the 5 that we're gonna talk about, or of the first 5, and he's a character that so you want him to be fast and you want him to be healthy. Those are the 2 things. Probably more healthy than fast. You know, there may be alternate methods for people to do. I know that some people really like to put, like, protection on him or something like that. I don't know, it's weird, but I know they like to do that with Seer. But Jedi Knight Cal, really, guys, he's not there for damage. He's there for killing one person, and then for you know, doing all the other stuff. He dispels, he cleanses, he armor shreds, he does all that stuff. He does, you know, he cycles through turns really fast. Lots of cool stuff. Hands turn meter to people. He does great stuff. He's not there for damage, really. Like, if you get some extra damage on him, great. That's wonderful. But you want him to survive first. So health, he regenerates his health really nicely. You really want a high health pool on him, especially with the Rise of the Empire mission. Like, if you mod him like this, he's good in all the modes. Like, if there's another specialized way to do it, that's fine. But I have not lost with him for like years at this point, like years and like decades even, of being able to just destroy my hapless Inquisitor foes in that Rise of the Empire battle. It's only been out for, you know, a few months, but it is a really strong this is a really strong build, guys. Lots of health, lots of speed. The more speed you can get on him as well, the better it's going to go. Now, my alt, my smaller account, has him probably like 30 speed slower, and I still beat it every single time with him. Beat the mission, obviously. Nothing else, guys. And he you know, lots of health to survive those inconvenient probe droid destruction blasts, and that's it, guys. So that's the first 5. Let's dive right into the next 5. Royal Guard. I've actually covered this at one point. I think I even have a thumbnail of it with Royal Guard, but I see a lot of people making the mistake. So, first off, the only reason you ever use Royal Guard, really, is to use him with Lord Vader. Like, Lord Vader is the reason to have him. You want him to be a high relic, all of that stuff. I don't need to preach to you about relics here, because this is a modding video. But, so there's this really weird order of operations thing when it comes to Royal Guard and Lord Vader, where, so Royal Guard has this thing where, at the start of the encounter, he gains some max health, whatever, and then doubles his health until the end of the encounter. The other thing that happens, of course, so he naturally does have protection, but when he's with Lord Vader, which is the only place you use him, really, unless you're kind of a weirdo or you don't know what you're doing, he goes with Lord Vader, and Lord Vader takes everyone on his teams, at least all the worthy people, all the Imperials and Ufus, dark side Ufus, and he takes the protection and adds them to their health. And so the question is, which one do you want to go first? Do you want Lord Vader to grab, does Lord Vader grab the protection and turn it into health first? Or is it, does the health double on the Royal Guard's ability first? Like, it doesn't all happen simultaneously. There's a specific order. And what ends up happening, guys, is he does, in fact, double his health before the protection is folded into it. And so, if Lord Vader did turn the protection into health first, then you'd probably want to mod him for protection. But as it stands, you're going to benefit a lot more. You can go do the math. I'm not going to math it for you. But if you do the math, you're doubling his own health and then folding his protection stat into it on top of that from Lord Vader is going to be more beneficial than having as much protection as you can and just folding it into the doubled non-focused health pool that you could. And so just lots of health, guys, tons of health on him. And then I mean this is one of those instances where you actually do want health instead of defense set mods, I think. And you know, it doesn't hurt to have some extra protection on here, a little speed. I mean, you almost don't want him to have speed, but you know, because all of his stuff is, he just sits there. You don't want him to stop taunting with Lord Vader. And so, you know, so tenacity, whatever, guys. Like, I apparently have a ton of tenacity secondaries on him. I don't remember trying for that, but really, guys, just tons of health because of the order of operations. That's it. You know, and if you're not with Lord Vader, then don't bother. And if it's just for the shuttle, then also don't bother. The Savage Opress is an interesting one, guys. So, he's got a lot of health over time. He's got a lot of regenerative abilities in GAC. If it's any other game mode, he kind of just sucks. He's not good. Like, he's not used anywhere else. But in GAC, he is used, and to very good effect. Really strong character. So you want him to survive, of course. He's your tank. He's taunting all the time. He's doing obnoxious things. The damage, you have other characters for damage. He does some damage, but that's not the reason you're taking him. So you want him to survive. Here's the thing, guys. So in GAC, if you're using him for offense, like the best natural way to mod him is going to be with health, because Usually you're taking him with like Traya or another character that really boosts his health or has him benefit from health. And so that's what you want. The problem is a lot of people, if you're putting him on defense, a lot of people will take like a Padme team with Gideon, and Gideon will supercharge Padme's protection up, which she turns into courage, which then all that courage translates into percent health damage. And so if you're putting him on defense, you actually want to go as high protection as you can. Now, I don't put him on defense too often because there's a lot of things that beat that team where I'm at, but I think that's what stops me. If I want to attack someone's Traya team with Savage on it, then I always check and see, and if they have a high health stat like mine right here, then I don't use that Gideon, that Gidme team to be able to take it out. I use something else. And so health is going to be his most natural, awesome stat. But if you're putting him on defense and your opponent is wise in the ways of science, then you're going to want to give them protection instead of health. And that's basically it. I don't care about anything. Like, you just, throw some defense set, throw some health set, whatever. But yeah, protection is going to be better on defense for him. Merrin is an interesting one. People debate me all the time on this, and I won't pretend like I have the perfect answer. The thing is, you have to have different preferences and priorities depending on what game mode and what your objectives are. In GAC, if you want to kill Jabba in one shot, it's not 100% guaranteed that you're going to, but if you do that, you probably need either a ton of tenacity or a ton of defense mods so that you don't just get blown all the way to hell with all the thermals. Because she needs to survive. All the other Night Sisters can die. You don't care about them. You care about her being able to survive so that she can just cycle through with basics, and she just auto basics them to death once you hit that Omicron, or once you use the Omicron. It's on one of her uniques. Yeah, whenever a Night Sister ally is defeated or revived, Merrin gains 100% turn meter, which can't be prevented. And so, at the start of her turn, inflict everyone with plague, and that's awesome. So you can get an endless turn meter loop because Talzin will constantly revive her friends. Talzin's lead will revive her friends because she did a basic, and then they'll die, and she'll gain 100% turn meter from their death. And so that's nice. It works against a lot of things, against Jabba as well. The problem is, then, if you're modded for all those other things, you're not modded for a ton of potency. And really, the thing I love about Merrin is the Night Sisters thing, and I actually am starting to work on a Night Sisters, like an updated Night Sisters Faction Essentials video. But the thing that you want to remember, guys, is for her, she's the only Night Sister that causes plague on basic, and that's really strong. Like, plague is such a strong mechanic against a lot of teams, and she's just immune to, so she doesn't need speed. If you look at one of her uniques, it's like, okay, you don't use speed unless you're alone. If you're just solo, then you use your speed, but otherwise, and you don't solo things with her. You destroy things in the context of Night Sisters, and she does a really good job of that. You really want a lot of potency, and a lot of teams that you're going to be trying to tackle are going to have high potency or high tenacity to stop that. Like, one of the teams you may target, it would be like CLS, depending on datacrons, etc. But CLS is going to have really high tenacity, and so you want to be able to stick as much potency on her as possible so that you can stick plague on them. So I have her at 206. I probably don't have the very best mods for I do have some potency as much as I can. I just have an accuracy arrow because she doesn't need speed. Like, you could use offense, but nah, whatever, man. I have this weird accuracy arrow, but it also has potency and offense, so I guess we'll just go for it. It's a potency set, and that's more of an eccentricity of mine. I don't go around saying, oh, Zara said, throw an accuracy arrow on Merrin. Like, you can, but you would be lying, and then I would hope you'd feel guilty, or you're probably a sociopath and should go check that out. Get that checked. So you don't need a lot of speed, guys. Any speed added here is just kind of incidental. You just want to survive, some health, because you get some nice boost from Talzin on the health anyways. But for the most part, Just lots of potency, guys. You can see potency secondaries everywhere unless it's a primary, and that's it for Merrin. I mean, some offense if you can fit it in. I think this is the more generalist way to mod her, and then if you want to kill Jabba, you have to specialize. But then in any other game mode, you typically just want lots of potency. In my experience, pure potency, Merrin is a happy Merrin, unless you want to be specialized, like I say. But I don't see the need to, and I'm like the guy who does all the off-meta GAC stuff. I just, I don't know. You don't have to do it, guys. Mace is so, oh man, he's so good, and he wants to do so much, guys. So he wants to survive. He's always tackling. He's on the best Jedi teams, and he's on a ton of different Jedi teams, depending on what you want to do. So he's a tank, obviously, but then he also does some damage, and he also is also a guy who debuffs a lot. Like he does his smite, he does a stun here, he does ability block on basic, which you want to. I mean, that's an amazing thing. Ability block on basic. People don't take advantage of it. You also, like, so he wants to do a little damage if he can, and then he needs to survive because he's a tank. So how do you mod him? He's a complex guy. First off, I like as many relics as you can give him, the better. Like some people, really? Why do you have relic 9 on Mace? He's good, man. I mean, the other 2 accounts I have don't have him at 9, but your experience with Mace is going to be a lot better once he's free of the threat, like the risk of immediate death to his dangerous opponents. A lot of people will take a bad Mace against a good like Malgus team, and Malgus will just go in and just one-shot him because they don't have him modded right, or he's just like relic 3 or something. Like it's embarrassing. Then they're like, oh, he sucks, I shouldn't use him, and that's not the case. You just need to free yourself from the shackles of fear of losing to a really good character that he's typically going to be facing. And so, you know, you want some potency. Like a potency set is great. He does want to do a little damage, so I give him an offense set. You could honestly go full health sets, and I wouldn't judge you at all. And then his stat that he likes the most here is going to be health. Like protection would be okay, but typically the teams that he goes with are going to help regenerate his health, and his protection is, you know, depending, but for the most part, health is just going to do more for him. So just stack tons of health with him, some protection, and then you do have the small benefit. This isn't why you mod for health specifically, but you have the small benefit of doing on your basic, this attack deals bonus damage equal to 5% of his max health. That's not the reason to mod him for as much health as I have on him, but that is a nice little boost. So something to think about. Jyn, apparently we're covering a couple AdRad characters. I didn't really even think of that when I was making this, but what does she want to do? She wants to crit on this one so that, you know, she gives advantage on crit hits. That's cool. With the current Datacron, she also boosts her own offense with crits, so that's cool. But basically, you want to do some crits. Well, this is also, you revive one of your rebel allies when you crit, and she's going with like Leia. Sometimes she's going with Adrad. She survives a lot, and here's the thing: she doesn't die until Adrad's dead. So you don't need to make her survivable. What a lot of people are missing about her is she can punch their lights out really hard. So she's relic 8. So of course, you know, take that into consideration when you look at the offense numbers here. But if you just give her a ton of offense, guys, some crit damage is fine. Protection, because she's on the Adrad team and she likes protection, but remember, she doesn't die until Adrad dies, and when Adrad dies, yeah, she wants to survive, but usually she just dies before she can revive anyone. But lots of offense and lots of speed if you can get it as well. I don't think I have her too fast. Oh, she is actually very fast. Never mind. Look at me. What an elitist I am. Ah, you peasants. I'm sorry. That was rude, and I'm trying to feel guilty about it. So, yeah, she just wants offense. She wants some crit chance, because her natural crit chance is not super. I mean, it's high enough, but you want some of that if you can. And then I guess a little bit of potency is nice too. So she actually boosts her own potency. I see a lot of people putting potency on her, but just keep in mind, so Jyn is immune to stun and gains 10% potency each time she critically hits an enemy. Oh, that's the other reason you want to be able to crit, is because she boosts her own potency to the point where if it's an extended battle, which a lot of them with Adrad actually are, because he's trying to get to his ult, she's going to be boosting her own potency a lot anyway, so I don't see a ton of reason to put a lot of extra potency on her. She has a very low base potency, but as things progress, like if she does an AoE in 5v5 and she crits all 5 of her enemies, she's going to gain 50% potency. That's not a ton immediately, but because of the way because of the way she is, the battle is framed, eventually she's going to have enough that it's going to be really nice. And then she can start on a critical hit. She's going to stun the target for a turn, which, remember, you still have to take a potency check to get that stun to work. But then, and you also need a potency check to remove all turn meter from the target. Like, this is such a nice thing, because if you hit someone with full turn meter, you take away their turn, and she gets another turn, like, right away almost. And, and then once they finally do get their turn, they're stunned, so they can't do anything for it. This is actually kind of an amazing ability on a cooldown too. She just cycles through her turns so quickly. She gets a lot of stuff done, guys. She takes a ton of turns, and she actually does a significant amount of damage. She's been, the Rogue One releases from way back in the day haven't really seen a huge amount of boost. I mean, Adrad boosts them for sure, but like the stats of her aren't that great. They're old stats, but under an Adrad lead and with the modding I just showed you, she actually produces a ton, and she is a good candidate for higher relics as well if you want to do more damage. So anyways, that was it, folks. I think that was all of them. We just spent half an hour talking about mods, so I mean, I guess it's like 3 minutes per character. It's not too bad, but one way or another, let me know, respectfully, if you disagree. I would love to hear in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.